Okay, good morning, everybody. It is 10 o'clock. I see at least something like 12 participants. I would like to greet everybody. Happy to know that you have joined us. Are you all well?
Yes.
Oh, okay,
Thank you.
great. I am presently in Austria, in the mountains. I hope that the connection is okay. Does everybody hear me properly?
Yes. Yes, normally.
Okay. I hear you. I receive your pictures and your moving pictures. And Milos has big ears. Just to introduce this session and waiting for Dana, we have scheduled a total of 2 hours. We shall see whether we need these 2 hours or not. I'm very grateful to Monique, who has arranged for the system that we can communicate. She is the specialist in setting up these conferences. Monique, thank you very much.
No problem, yeah. Okay.
Hi.
Yeah, she's very relaxed. We have circulated, and that on the initiative of our French friends, and we always ask our members whether they have issues which they would like to raise during these video conferences, and this time it's our third video conference. They have come up with a couple of questions. You have received them. I just read them again to you. The first one is how to rethink the residential homes of our seniors after COVID crisis, and how to put in place examples of good practice. Just on terminology, we say either seniors or, as we are called, the European Federation of Older Persons. We prefer the word older persons because it is a neutral expression. What is also in that first double question is how to identify examples which can then be used in residential homes. The second part is how to promote new intermediate solutions between home care and residence. When we say intermediate solutions, we mean also innovative solutions which can be applied in both situations, whether older people live at home or whether they are in residential institutions. And when we say solutions, we mean, as it is already expressed, not only medical ones, in particular, also social solutions. How can we improve the social interconnection of persons living in these two situations? And then it would be interesting to listen about examples in different Eurag countries. Well, we know that the European countries have very, very different social security systems and social support systems and medical support systems. But we also know that about 80% of the older population in all the countries would like to prefer to age at home. It is only in specific cases that they really want to be in institutions to be cared for, but as long as they can, they prefer to live in their own homes, in their own social environment, and to be self-determinated, etc., etc. When we talk about these, Dana will give to each one of you, according to the alphabetic list, the floor, one after the other. And when you have the floor, please do switch on your microphone, and all the other ones switch off your microphone, because the background noises which we sometimes have make it very difficult to communicate. And this applies also to Monique. Have you switched off your microphone, Monique?
Yeah,
She tries. Good. Yeah, and everybody has up to 3 minutes to express herself or himself on these questions. You do not need to answer all the questions. You can concentrate on one or the other. And when we have done the whole round from A to Z, then we open a free flow floor where everybody can raise hands and say, now I want to speak. And you can add aspects which have not yet been mentioned. You can comment on the input of others. It's a free flow discussion round.
So
Having said that, Adana just joined.
there's Donna.
Okay.
No, I have been here for a while, but I can't turn on, there is something wrong with my video camera, so you probably can't see me, or can you see me?
No.
No, but good that you can hear me. So welcome to our third Zoom meeting, and I would like to give the floor to Mira Perdeni from Albania.
Now?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Yes, now yes.
Hello, everybody. I'm happy to be again with you all because a long time we not see each other. First, I want to thank a lot organization of this important team in this meeting. Especially gratitude go for our active member Monique, because the ASAG have feel their support all time. Albania is a country with a development structure on aging. Residential care and day care are services for aged people are very limited and outdated. In the Albania caregiver, most of whom are family members, especially older women carry the main weight, face new situations and challenges in a daily basis. Our healthcare system not support caregivers, but family caregivers often need information, training, and other services and support to help them manage their roles. Too often, family caregivers don't know where to turn for help and do not feel their voice are heard, much less understood. Voluntary initiative undertaken by a famous, passionate, and talented nurse in Tirana for created a nurse home with some standards, faced with a lot of problem with legislation. Albania still lack legislation in favor of elderly persons. We need to focus on the specific needs and concern of caregivers and to recommend to address the complex need of caregivers. During 20 years work of HAZAC, unique voice for older women in Albania, is totally excluded by national and international level. Outsiders, they should not stop thinking, they should stop thinking within the old framework that has solving the problems from the outside on behalf of local. I think this meeting, our our network will be, need to be in the heart of the efforts to build more effective and empowered movement for justice at global, regional, national, and local level. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mira. We can see that the situation is quite serious in Albania and that Albania needs you to push things forward. Yeah, I can see.
Through my newsletter, our ASAC newsletter, I talking about this problem for caregivers and for service for elderly people in Albania is very, very difficult.
Yeah.
Not any service in Albania.
Oh, it's terrible. Yeah. So I would like to give the floor to Miloš Weiss, who applied at the last minute, and I didn't have him on my list. So Miloš, the floor is yours. Czech Republic.
Okay. Can you hear me, everybody? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I'm glad to see you all. First of all, I want to say that I don't feel so competent to answer all these questions because I am not working concretely with the homes of seniors. The first question, the assignment of the first question is that after the COVID crisis. So my first answer is that I don't see no solution in sight. The crisis is far from over, and on the contrary, it seems to be gaining more intensity. Nevertheless, I would like to describe the situation in our country. So please, the results of the last 6 months in connection with COVID-19 are not cheering for us. I don't know how it was underway in the other countries, but in our country, Czech Republic, we saw and had to state that the system has not been sufficiently prepared and ready to combat and prevent the virus. Although we all knew its existence, its expanding was so fast that it caused the chaos in the homes of seniors. And not only there, the impact was on the whole economy and social sector. The same or very similar situation was in the hospitals. Suddenly, from day to day, we found out that we didn't have enough masks for nursing staff, for the doctors, and eventually for the seniors residing in the senior homes. It seems that we also underevaluated the power, the intensity of the virus, and due to this fact, a lot of seniors got sick. Subsequently, the homes of seniors, the hospitals have to be closed for public, for the relatives. For many seniors, it was a very sad moment that could cause the worsening of their health. Months ago, we put the masks away in the Czech Republic and pretended that the virus disappeared. It was a big mistake. As you remember, I said last time, I was against releasing restrictions on COVID. Now we are reaping the harvest. Yeah. Nevertheless, we are not entitled to criticize these moments. We can admit some imperfection, that it was the exemplary case of the unreadiness, but it was also a case that taught us to make decisions in the process of the virus's expansion. Now, few months later, we all are more wise and prudent. The social, and now the short answer on your question. The social and health system have to anticipate the possible threats, must be ready and make the reserves of all necessary funds in order to save the lives of seniors. It is, of course, essential condition for existence of all people living on the earth. That's all for concerning this questions. Really, I don't work with homes of seniors. I have another tasks, but I saw that it was not so easy And society and the government must do more, especially for seniors and the homes of seniors and hospitals. At the end, please, I have to tell you that I cannot stay more than up to 10:30 because I have another session in the other city and I must go there. My presence, my participation is very needed there. So thereafter at 10:30, I switch off and I am glad to see you all and I hope to see you again, not only you and the other persons too, in Budapest, if everything is okay at the time. Thank you for your attention. Bye.
Thank you, Miloš, for your presentation. I just add from the Czech Republic, from this midnight, from today, we are obliged to wear the face masks in the interior, everywhere, absolutely everywhere. Even if you just leave your apartment and you meet a neighbor on the staircase, you are supposed to have your nose and mouth covered, so you can see how the situation is getting serious.
Yes, it's because we under-evaluated the situation. Yeah, that's a logic decision. Yeah.
So thank you. And now I have on my list Paul Anker from Denmark. I can't see if he is here, but I was told that he wanted to join us. So maybe he just didn't make it in time. So I am moving to...
No, he's not present.
He's not, yeah. So thank you. So I am moving to Moira Alan from Paris. Pass it on network. All right.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. It's always a great pleasure to be with you, to be with Eurag, and I hope with everything that we can meet again in Budapest. I'd like to talk about, and I don't know what Monique's going to talk about because we haven't concerted, but there are two examples that about housing that I would like to mention. And I don't have direct information on them except for one interview with the person who's busy occupying herself with this. And this is the group in France that's called Corian. And Corian has developed a new organization within its group. And this new organization is building more and more small unities, and a lot of them are in the rural areas, and they provide accommodation for 8 people. And it's based on the concept of everybody has an individual space with a bathroom, etc., and a small place where they can have the kitchen, and then there's common space. And Korean says that the demand for this type of accommodation is very, very big. And the accommodation, I think, if I understood correctly, there's the rooms, and then there's another floor where there are people who can bring help to the whole group, to the 8 people, like a nurse who could come and bring help if necessary. They're not medicalized as such. And I've been invited to go and have a look at one of these, and I will be able to talk more intelligently about it. But it does indicate a trend away from the institutionalized establishment for older people to something that is more community-based, that will do away, I hope, with the horrible isolation that does exist. And it's interesting to see that they are concentrating on the rural areas. And then the second example that I know about is happening in the Baltic countries, and I'm not sure if our friend from Lithuania knows about it, I'm sure he does, but there's a development there where they're building what they call the big family house. And the concept there is also, it's an investment, so people can invest in this, investors or the people themselves, and over a period of time they can get a return on their investment. But the concept there is that there's a big house with a number of people, say 4 to 6 people who need help, and then they're helpers, and they all stay together in this one house. and the helpers are it's an intergenerational. The helpers are younger seniors, and they stay there until they themselves need help, and then other people come in. That is the concept, and the man who's doing it is called Nikolai Kolbiav, and he's very available on LinkedIn. So I don't think I'd like to go any further than those two particular examples. Thank you.
Thank you, Moira. It reminds me about a similar project from the United States in Washington, D.C. They call it The Village. And there are the younger, more capable seniors are helping to the others, and they are also providing socializing, you know, like visiting them, talking to them. So it is like self-service almost, you know, between and among seniors, which is very good. So the next on my list is Monique. Monique, we can't hear you.
Do you hear me now?
Yeah, now.
Okay, now do you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, diaporama. Okay, so it's I tried to find out a few things about shared and intergenerational housing, which is part of the solution of the housing problem. I'm happy that Moya added specifically something about Korean, which is a big company, one of the biggest companies for residences for seniors, and they are indeed changing and proposing now little units. So this is one thing. It only shows that things are moving and things are changing, and with the COVID even much more. So there are two kinds of housing which I'm mentioning. Shared housing means then that two people live together, but they can share either the price of the rent or share other services. So it's for people elderly people who are, of course, still autonomous and don't need medicalized services. And the same for intergenerational housing, which is in general more typically somebody elderly with a big house who wants to who has a spare room and could offer a free accommodation or low cost accommodation, and in exchange of services. So we have so many. We already have a bunch of little associations who begin with this to offer this kind of service. And okay, Sweet Home is shared housing. Then we have the next one is HNV, but this is for so here it's for dependent people who are still dependent, not who are already not autonomous, not completely. So this is shared in the way of what Moira also mentioned. She spoke about some Lithuanian guy called Nikolai Kolbiav, I've forgotten his name, and he is trying to bring into France a new model of little houses where you can have 4 or 5 rooms for residents, and then a room in common, and then a place for caregivers to stay overnight and help. Intergeneration is really completely somebody accommodates a younger student and gets help in a change. This is for students very often because students might come to a town where they don't know anybody, and so they would be very happy to have cheap accommodation, but also to have somebody to talk to. Génération et Culture is they mostly have debates about the social issues of intergenerational housing. This is another one. Cozy. I mean, it's we have a bunch of things, and more and more now with COVID, with all the problems we had in bigger residences, this issue is important. Économie solidaire. Sometimes people get together, but they have their own. They know each other already before, and they have a project for life in some way. And this happens mainly here for La Maison des Sages. Okay, this is typically from this. It's extreme, but here we have a group of LGBT or Q, and I mean, these people, they want to stay between them, and they have, I think they have another style of life. So they want to have their own housing with little houses, and it's not only housing, they really have a life project. They organize things together, and so this is typically a community thing. But there are other people who do the same thing. Sometimes it's kind of religious communities also, but it can be anything. Here they mixed autonomous housing for seniors and also for single parents and for young people. So that's another solution, all kind of different housing. But they have a common aim in life. They understand each other and have also a kind of life project. And this is just an example of what's happening in Japan, where people pay much attention on the architecture and the design of houses, and specifically when it comes to elderly people. And they are pretty much aware about the problem, and they try to have houses where they have intergenerational and also with wood, because it's Japan. Okay. So the problem is, I mean, the problem is really now a new one, which everybody has to face, and it's very interesting and very actual, and everybody can try to find a solution for that. Okay, that's all.
Thank you, Monique. I have been myself involved in a home share program that was founded by Nan Maitland in Great Britain in the 90s, and I have done it for 10 years. So I have a personal experience from that. And I must say that not always it worked out absolutely, you know, in an ideal way, because sometimes the students wanted to have more free time than the owners of the homes expected, and they wanted more help and more attention and so on. So there are, you know, like some also aspects that we have to take into consideration. So on my list is Francois. Francois.
Hello. Hello, everybody. I have nothing to add. We work with Monique together, and she says all. Thank you.
Yeah. It was a very comprehensive, yes, comprehensive
Donna,
review.
could Monique please share her slides, because they were very interesting with the different contexts.
Yeah, Monique, would it be able to? I can't hear you now, Monique, but would it be able to send it?
Yeah, of course, I will share the slides afterwards.
To the participants, yes.
Yeah, sure.
Yes, who will.
I would just say that the interesting thing about some kind of communities, because it can be called a community, when the people know each other and choose, they try to choose each other, not to take everybody in the community. And they try also to manage by themselves most of the daily issues. And this is the big difference between a big retirement homes where you have employees who are sharing, who are doing the management, and little units where the people themselves are managing themselves. That's a big difference also. So if they are managing themselves, so they have their word to say, they are proactive, of course, and also they might impose their way of style of life more easily. Okay.
Yeah. So the conclusion is that it very much depends upon their independence. If they are still independent, they can, decide what will be the way of living. So so the next one on my list is Dirk Jare from Germany.
Dana, I would not right now comment on that. But
Right. You will do it at the end. All right. So, now we are getting our future organizer of the future event in Hungary, Eva Orsos I don't know, Hegyesi?
Hegyesi. Yes.
So Eva, welcome. We are very grateful for everything you have already done for our next meeting.
First of all, my husband at a hospital, and he asked me to send his greeting for you. So I'm very happy to be together with you. And first of all, let me say just a few words about the situation in Hungary. So in Hungary, by the official statements, a little bit less than 10,000 infected people and 628 people died, most of them old people, but approximately 50-60 people under 50. Which is very important. If you see these figures, you will think that in Hungary, very little people who is related with the virus. But you know, the other hand, another figure shows that in Hungary, very little test. So if in Hungary will be more tests, it will show how many people is infected. Very important that Hungarian government made arrangements. And for example, few days ago, Hungary closed the borders. We really don't think that this is the solution. But this was the arrangement. We really hope that in October or in November the situation will be easier, especially because I hope that you will be our guest in Budapest. So good practices. We started to collect these good practices. Our organization, which is a national organization, umbrella organization of old people, working together with the Association of Social Workers. And we run a tender to collect good practices, and we would like to show these good practices on the Day of Social Worker. But of course, during this time, we are collecting these good practices, and we organizing a few months ago a Zoom conference for Budapest governments and settlements. And every other week, we invite 3 or 4 settlements or Budapest district to show their own good examples, good practices, and of course to show what does it mean problem for them. So first of all, I would like to to highlight two very serious problems. The first is quality and the other is quantity. So, and it is not related with pandemic situation. It means that in Hungary, more and more people would like to ask services, home care service, or they would like to live in the houses of old people. But unfortunately, very often, more than 2 years, they must wait for a place. And it makes the situation is very critical. The other problem, quality and quantity, the other problem is that people are very different because they health situation, because they educational level, etc. They needs, but unfortunately the services can give just the same, and it's a very, very serious problem. The other very serious problem is that maybe you have heard about that. More than 600,000 people left Hungary. Most of them young people, or they are belonging to middle-aged generation. So it means that in Hungary, very serious problem because no employees in Hungary. Sometimes services can't work because no people who can work for these services. And this problem at the hospitals and old people's are really serious. And this is why it was very, very important, as we show in these meetings, Zoom meetings, that local government started to find those volunteers who can give services for old people. It's very often telephone call, conversation by the Zoom, etc., which is very important for those people who have no relatives, sometimes no relatives at all, or no relatives in Hungary. Let me say another problem that, of course, hospitals and old people's houses had pandemic plan, but somehow it was not important to work with it because there was no pandemic situation. And this was some kind of shock in Hungary to meet with this pandemia. And today, those people who are working on different territories, so on social territory, on health, etc., working together to refreshing this pandemic plan. So just very quickly summarize, if you see the figures, you will see that in Hungary, in a very good situation, very little people related with pandemic, and just very little people died. But if we see among the figures, the situation is worse. I really hope that more and more people are aware that they are responsible for their own health, and more local government are aware that they must do for the inhabitants, especially old people. Thank you.
Thank you, Eva. It was very interesting for us, and I can see that there is an open labor market for the capable elderly who could, provide care for their peers who are less fortunate. So on my list.
Excuse me, Milos
Yes?
is speaking. I'm sorry, I have to leave this video conference. So
Yeah,
I was glad to see you all and hope to see you soon. Goodbye.
Yes, thank you,
Bye-bye,
Milos.
everybody.
Thank you, Milos, for joining us. Bye.
Bye.
So, and now I have Latvia. Teresia Makare and Rasa
Kiitos.
delegation.
Hello, can you hear us?
Yes, yes, we can see and hear.
We are just, as you know, the organization of seniors who stay at home and come here for passing their free time, and we organize them various courses, and we can't just comment on the residential homes in Latvia, alas. But we would like to tell you a little bit about our problems. So, and we've just moved to another premises which are larger now, and we hope to give more interesting just conferences, courses to our seniors. We have now about 800 seniors who are with us. So, and the main stress accent now in our work, we pay for just the older people to be digitally educated, because this COVID have shown us that all the people staying home during it, they were devoid of just relationships, of if they, alas, they know this digital, they have acquired these digital skills. So we have now promote these digital courses, and with the help of your municipality, which we have acquired a really good relationship. We just started a new computer courses and very good class, which is highly equipped. So, and now in our country, in Latvia, even governmental institutions, medical services, they just prefer to work via computer. So it is really of much necessity now to just to give this necessary skills to our seniors. So, and we also in course of digital education and protection of civil rights of our seniors, we opened a new center of cooperation of Riga citizens and our resources, innovation in alliance with other generations. So, in generations. And we would like to draw your attention and ask your help in two issues. First of all, we would like to protect our seniors just in the problem of taxation of their pensions. And we would kindly ask all the countries participating in this webinar to give their comments, how it takes, how is it about taxes on pensions in your countries. And we would be really of much help for us to start this project, yeah? And I will show you our address here, and probably in case you can give us your comments on this issue, we would be really grateful. So another thing, we just started a new project, and it's the project Rasa in Latvia, and it's the project to organize a European flower garden park. What does it mean? It all the countries participating in European Union or the Eurag can send us the species of their national flowers, and maybe some of them are of symbol to your country. And we are going to found a new such park, which will be uniting all the seniors in all European countries. And maybe this project would be of interest for you. In this case, also send your comments to us, please, also the same address. Okay, thank you for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you, girls. We are so pleased that RASA is such an active organization, and we still have in our fresh memories our big conference in Vienna, where RASA came with the big delegation. So I just want to tell you that in my own country, the Czech Republic, the pensions are not taxed. We don't pay taxes on pensions, but I know that in Great Britain they do, and in Denmark they do as well, and the others will send you their comments. And that literacy, that digital literacy, it is what we somehow felt everywhere, that it is extremely needed and wanted, and some people are reluctant to obtain these skills. They just don't feel that they are young enough for something so new. So it is a problem with my students as well. So I would like to give the floor to Rita. Rita, she was supposed to be under some different name on the screen. Rita Slataite, if it is pronounced so. Rita, are you there?
So here there are two persons from Lithuania, Virginia and Evaldas. So we have to share.
All right, but Rita was also, Rita also was registered. So that's why I wanted to give her the floor, but she's apparently not here. So could I give the other representatives from Lithuania the floor? So Evaldas, would you start?
Thank you. I can start, and Virginia, so maybe ladies first, but okay, I starting. So when we are talking about such rethinking of this residential homes, I think that there is maybe approach in level of centralization. In centralized or more centralized solutions, there is effectiveness, higher qualification, better infrastructure, smaller expenditures, and other things. But when we are talking about reliability, so in Lithuania we have such example when so centralized system of electronic prescriptions. Every doctor and every pharmacy used this system, and after rain, the servers were flooded, and the system go out for more than 1 week. So if we are talking about centralization, we need more reliable infrastructure with duplicated systems and other things. There is another thing when we are talking about loneliness of people which are stayed in these homes when isolation or quarantine started. There are some people who not have a possibility to use equipment for communication, telecommunication, or they do not have them, or they do not can use them. So they will stay lonely, and there is a big problem for their relatives and for themselves. So when we are talking about another how to promote intermediate solutions, maybe there is such one good example in Lithuania when we started safety of neighborhood project. There is safety or security in criminal things, but when we are talking about lonely people, about old people which are returning from this nursing houses because they have not stayed there. Our patient fund can stay only for 4 months per year. And after that, they have to pay 3 or 4 times more than their pensions are already. So many of them are returning at home. And there is a possibility to mobilize relatives and neighbors to help for them people. So there is another thing that there is a need of solidarity, intergenerational solidarity. In Lithuania, in the first month was organized about 2,000 young people, volunteers, which expressed possibility to support all other people, but they were not skilled, they were not trained. There is another problem. So maybe I have to finish because my colleague Virginia can continue. Thank you.
Thank you, Evaldas. That electronic prescriptions can be really a problem if people are not equipped with mobile phones. Yes, so it is the same problem here in our country. Virginia, could you go on about the situation in Lithuania?
Yes,
yeah.
I am happy and glad to take part in this debate. And I can say that COVID had a bad impact to residential homes of our seniors, but not very wide, because in Lithuania, situation with COVID was not so bad as in other countries. And only in a few homes for seniors, we had exclusion of COVID. And the reason of this was the fault of the staff, because the staff spread this infection. So there is an urgent need to change working methods and procedures of the staff, I see. And now the infrastructure of residential houses also needs to be improved in order to achieve more personal space for each resident. And worst impact of the residents had isolation from loved ones. This should not happen again in the future. And we should provide all necessary that people in the residential houses could have contacts with his families or other people, but not be isolated for 2, 3 or more months. So this problem is most actual, I think. Also, the problem is about competition between private and public bodies. I think this is a good reason to have competition, because private bodies sometimes can give more good living conditions for elderly people. And in this area, we can find very good examples, but I not prepared in details these examples, but we have. Also, the problem is about media, because media should pay more attention to seniors' life conditions in the residences, because now we have very small information about this area of social life. In the field of home care, there is problem of competencies, psychological readiness and empathy to provide their services for staff personnel. So they should have more lessons and more services from consultants, I think. And at least non-governmental organizations, especially senior organizations, could also do much more in this field. They can organize control, evaluation, help for seniors in the seniors' homes. So, sorry on the
Thank you, Virgilia. Thank you very much for your comments. I just wanted to give you one example from my own country when the situation was really very serious, and we had quite a number of nursing homes where the staff got infected and infected the clients. Yes. And in some nursing homes decided that they will live there, the staff, the professionals, that they will live with the clients in the home, and they will not go to their own homes for maybe 2 weeks just to protect them. But you can do it on a long-term basis. But it was, you know, somehow a sign of solidarity to prevent any infection in the nursing home. But otherwise it is common all over that people felt very, very lonesome during the that lockdown because they couldn't see their relatives. It was all over, you know, in all countries. So thank you so much. And now I am moving to Aneta Zubekova from Slovakia.
Okay.
Good.
Okay, now I'm successful to share the screen. If you allow me very briefly from Slovakia, we have about 247 houses of seniors in the country, but there is not enough for the interest of seniors being there. Within the second phase of COVID crisis, we have new measures of Ministry of Health and Ministry of Labor, Social Affairs and Family. Ministry of Health is more oriented on some limits in the regions and districts with orange and red color, where are focus more on interior. There are limited person in interior. There are duty to have face mask in interior. It is keeping higher hygiene of hands. And on the other hand, the monitor of these facilities have a duty to see the development of the new situation of semaphore, and if it is orange or red, they have a duty to prepare report and send to Ministry of Labor. There is the Department of Crisis Management and Safety, and they advise and assure the stricter measures. Ministry of Health is preparing information system 3W Corona Go SK, where it is dialogue space for questions necessary to promptly solved. And Ministry of Health is also organizing promptly testing of people returning from abroad holiday, and in these houses when the house is located in the region of orange or red zone, it is limited to the visits of relatives there to the time of new development of the situation. Concerning comparison residencies and home care. Residencies are are in the pole of advantage and disadvantage. A big advantage is medical care, but disadvantages are, for example, long waiting list, assumed sufficient financial background of the family. Other words, they are expensive. Respect rules from the seniors of the house system. All seniors, or most number of seniors are feeling isolated out from the family and from the domestic surroundings, and they have less privacy. On the other hand, home care is better accepting for seniors. If it is suitable for their diagnosis, it's better way. They can spend the time in well-known environment, and it is more polite for them. Home care is organized in two ways. One way is municipality authorities. It is organized in the form of public service of professional careers, and other way is by private organization. Paying for professionals is from municipality budget, and for paying for activity of private organization is from family budget. In both cases, it's necessary to have cooperation of family members in the way of availability of diagnosis documents, extent of services, supervising when necessary in medical facilities, some bringing of basic food, rehabilitation services, some monitoring or control in using medicine. This home care work from the point of public service is not good paid, and that's the reason why a lot of professional careers prefer to work in abroad, mainly in Austria, where the financial situation has a structure partly from the state, partly from the family, and it is the result is higher remuneration for career than in Slovakia. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Aneta. So we are supposed to go with my students to Slovakia on 25th. I hope that we will be still able to do it. And otherwise, the situation in many European countries is similar, that people are waiting for too long to be accepted into nursing homes. Especially in my own country, I can confirm that. And now on my list is Jessica Puhar from Slovenia.
Oh, yes. Hello. Hello, everybody. Do you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. It's nice to be with you again. In this different and changed circumstances, I'm losing my skill for talk because I'm writing and reading more than talking. Because of this, I prepared a written contribution that I can spare you time, you know. My reflection on the necessary changes in the field of care is part of our summer campaign, which I can describe you in short features. In early August, our organization proposed measures to improve the situation in homes for older persons. We have also issued a special brochure you see here. Its title is the organized forms of providing quality in aging. Namely, the experiences of the COVID-19 epidemic in Slovenia has shown that in the past decades, we have not created the appropriate conditions for the treatment of older persons living in homes when a crisis or epidemic occurs. The established, well accepted, and in some other countries well assessed doctrine of integrated care is appropriate, even excellent for normal situation. when it is not necessary to separate groups of care recipients according to different unusual characteristics. However, when infections occur, the need for isolation or quarantine, the need for more medical care, our doctrine in practice is not longer effective. There is no adequate space, not enough staff, dilemmas arise, refer to hospital, yes or no. We took the opportunity of the final phase of the preparation of the Long-Term Care Act. Finally, we have been waiting for it 15 years, and proposed short-term measures and changes that can be implemented in the long-term round. Short-term ones refer to the immediate improvement of conditions for care staff. The government has listened to this and increased funding for homes. People are expecting the increasing of wages, but we are sure that the homes for residential care will not get enough people because they are not interested for such sort of work. And also in Slovenia, there's from time to time lack of appropriate workers. Volunteers are helping and are welcome. Proposed long-term changes contain a design of conditions, capacities, and model of homes for older persons. Important part of it is a new categorization of long-term care providers, according to which we would have homes for still vital residents, nursing homes for residents in need of occasional assistance from medical staff, and homes for the most seriously ill, nursing hospitals for people who need the constant presence of medical staff. Some hospitals in Slovenia have organized nursing wards, but the stay there is limited in time, 30 days, and is intended for patients after various medical procedures. In concretization, our proposals mean the construction of new facilities and the renovation of existing ones, as well as the rational division of labor between health and social care services and the implementing organization concerned. We hope that the Ministry of Health will take over these ideas and include them in the provisions of the Long-Term Care Act. The public debate is still ongoing. The provisions of this act contain several orientations toward the expansions of care at home, which is also a strong interest of all older people in Slovenia. I will not talk about the program our organization is providing among the people living at home, because it would be too long. We are performing this with 3,600 volunteers. As institutional homes are now generally large facilities with a large number of housing units, and therefore residents, many municipalities opt for smaller units where it would be easier to organize accommodation and care closer to life, like at home. In doing so, they are also establishing various communities initiatives to help obtain funding from the budget and various international funds. These decisions are encouraged by various private investors who see their business opportunity in this type of homes. Large institutional care homes are predominantly public institutions. One of the explanations in these approaches is that it is also easier to provide assistance from health services in such smaller units if need arises. We are afraid in our organization of higher prices for the residents in such type of care facilities. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much, Josica. I have to add something that is not too encouraging. We had several cases of those small nursing homes where everyone got infected, the staff and the clients. You know, so it means they have much smaller space and the infection spread it much faster. So it is also, you know, this we could discuss what is better. So, but it is a very serious and difficult topic. So I could see that Galina Polyakova is also here. I didn't have her on my list because I somehow didn't get her application. But Galina, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm so happy to see everybody. Frankly speaking, I feel I miss you all. I shan't speak much, but I'd like to just shed some light on some points. Firstly, about pensions. In Ukraine, pensions are not taxed. Then about the control over the residential units from NGOs. It would be very useful, very effective, but at the moment we have no instrument, legal instrument that could allow non-governmental organizations to attend, to visit, and to control the quality of services in the residential care units. About intergenerational living, I know about this experience in Ukraine in 90s. It was very effective when it was about young students, the freshers, the first year students. They felt very lonely and unprotected, and so one of the universities had the contracts between parents, landladies, older persons, and the university. It was very effective, but I should say a very complicated process. Now about COVID in Ukraine. In Ukraine, only 9% of all those infected with COVID are people aged 70 plus. The majority of infected people are men. So about 58% are men, 42 women, and the majority of infected people are much younger people, aged 35, 55. So this is the most vulnerable group. About residential homes. In Ukraine, these services are provided by two categories, the nursing homes, geriatric nursing homes, and nursing homes for people with psychoneurological problems. The geriatric nursing homes, now they are better. With my colleague, we stayed for several days in some of these nursing homes to see the quality from inside. It could be better, but it could be worse. But about the psychoneurological profile, they are really horrible. But there are waiting lists. There are no waiting lists in normal geriatric nursing homes, but there are waiting lists for 2 years approximately for the psychoneurological nursing homes, mainly because of dementia. It's very difficult to keep these people at home and to care for them at home. So although they are really bad, they are free. For those people who are lonely, for those who have families, they have to pay. There are also, there's a recent phenomenon, private nursing homes. They are extremely expensive and not much better, but not much better. At the moment in Ukraine, the Ministry of Social Services, Social Policy, and a range of NGOs are busy reforming the services provided by nursing homes, by residential care units. This is a big process. I take part in it. I'm not very pessimistic and I'm not very optimistic because this it needs much money to support these institutions and
perhaps it would take longer than I would like to see. Well, that is all I could tell you at the moment. Thank you.
Thank you, Galina, very much. So,
Dana, you can go on with the general discussion.
Yeah.
In my introduction, I said that after these presentations from our various members, we will have an open floor. And people can either comment on the contributions which they have heard or provide additional ideas and comments, but they can also raise different issues which are burning in their hearts so that we can discuss them. You can continue, Dana.
yeah, so just taking into consideration your comments, so I can see them, there is some common feature that it is common in most of the countries that there is a long waiting list for nursing homes. It is, I could hear it from several of you. So it is one issue. And then I don't know if I would like to ask you, all of you, what is the situation in your countries in nursing homes? In my own country, the Czech Republic, we are since 2006, we are having 4 levels of dependence, or the four levels of dependence. And the nursing homes are getting the financial contribution from the state according to the level of dependence of the clients. So since 2006, in my own country is the tendency to accept only the worst cases because they are getting the higher financial contribution, the nursing homes. So it is better for them to have the serious cases than to have people in better condition. And actually it is almost a rule that people in better condition are not accepted in such nursing homes, because they are still rather independent and they can do on their own, and the nursing homes will get such a high financial support from the state. So it is the situation in my own country, regardless from the COVID situation. And so I would like to also if you can give me the feedback, how it is in your own countries, if you are aware of that, and then you can come up with other aspects that we could discuss. Yeah, Aneta?
Thank you for the floor, Dana. In Slovakia, it is very similar than you describe in Czech Republic. In nursing homes in Slovakia also are preferred clients with a higher degree of dependence. In Slovakia, it is the highest degree is 5, then 5, 4 in such a individual cases 3 are accepted, not lower, and this lower level of dependence is mostly in home care, and there are caring of professional coming from family to family, and it is a big interest of home care also, and not all evaluated as a in level of dependence are successful in having professional careers.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. So anyone else would like to contribute to this aspect? What is the situation in France, girls? Do you know? Moira, Monique, what is the situation? What is, you know, like the degree of dependence, as Aneta said, in France in the nursing homes?
We have the same kind of classification. It's called GIR. In France, it's GIR 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. Yeah, I think it's 4 also. I know that people try not to get into, I mean, I don't know if they try not to get into retirement homes because before they really need it. I think that's a general way it goes. People try not to go, try to stay at home as long as possible. Then we have quite a good care system at home. I mean, services which are provided by state or private companies more and more, because we have a good law which gives back. I mean, if people pay for service at home, I would say, let's say 100 euro, they get back from taxes half of the price. Of course, only if they pay taxes. But this helps a lot to develop the services and also to fight against black market, black market, which is another story, because the people who were giving services in general were paid, it was black market, but now it's regular, it's good. I think we have more and more services and to try and leave people at home as late as possible. And then if really they cannot stay at home, they go to a retirement home. Wow, that's all. Then of course there is a lot of people who want to go still, and there are not enough places. This I heard also, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. The long waiting list is common for many countries, because if you are even in a bad shape and you need a nursing home, that is not, you know, a rule that you could enter it immediately. You know, you have to wait until someone, you know, dies or whatever. And I know it from my friend from Germany. She has a husband who suffers from Alzheimer's disease, and he has been for 2.5 years on the waiting list, and now he hopes that when someone dies, he will be accepted because he is on the first place now, you know. So after 2.5 years, so it is the situation. What about Hungary? Yeah, Eva.
In Hungary, let me say that two types of houses. The first is nursing home. As I mentioned, the waiting list is very, very long. Yeah. And very often more than 2 years people must wait for these services. Very important that not especially old people would like to go to this home, but their relatives would like to send their parents, their relatives to this nursing home. The dependency here is very serious. The other type of institution is so-called house for pensioners. Here people can buy a little flat or a little bit bigger flat. And here a lot of services, community services, healthcare services, and other type of services for old people. The problem is that in these years, very few such houses was built. But for example, in October, we will visit a castle, a real castle, an old person got some kind of heritage, I don't know the background, and he bought 2 castles which were in a very poor condition. And he rebuilt these castles, and they are such a beautiful buildings on a beautiful area. And in one house there are 60 flats, and in the other is 80 flats. So here, of course, these flats very cheap, but the life conditions, the quality of life in these houses, wonderful.
Yeah, thank you so much. So I agree with you that also in my own country, we stopped to build these what we call assisted living places because there is such a demand for nursing homes for people who really are highly dependent that they are concentrating on this, you know, to have the nursing homes and these assisted living places which have been very popular in the past because people could buy their own apartment and then get some assistance if they needed it. They are somehow on the decline because of the circumstances. Thank you. So anyone else would like to contribute to this topic? Please, Dirk.
Yeah, I would like to share with you some information. That's not Corona. That's the cold.
Yeah.
That's the cold.
Anyway, you won't infect us through the screen.
No masks. In Germany, we have a system which is working pretty well, and that is called the care insurance. In this country, as in all the other European countries, you must have a health insurance. But the health insurance does not necessarily cover the expenses for care. So you have different arrangements by social protection systems how to finance that. In Germany, everybody who earns a living has to pay a certain percentage of her or his income to that care insurance. It is much lower than the one you pay for the health insurance, but still you have to pay it. Even from your pension, you pay a certain amount, which is a percentage, to this care insurance. Only Luxembourg has the same kind of social protection arrangement. And from this care insurance, if you are in need of care, it will be evaluated in which category of serious dependency, etc., and care needs you fall. By specialists, that will be evaluated, and that then you receive certain amounts of money according to the category you fall in. And this money can be used either that you buy external services if you stay at home, mobile services, etc., which are not medical services and purely medical services, but more than that, care services. It's not paying your doctor, it's paying other things. Or if the care is given by relatives, by your family, this can be paid to them and compensated their efforts by financial amounts, monetary amounts. Or if you are in an institution, it pays part of the care costs of which the institution has. So it's a pretty flexible thing, and which allows very differentiated formula and responses to the care needs of the individual. I just wanted to share that with you. Austria has a similar thing, but they do not have the insurance. They have the same kind of categories, and that is paid from tax money.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much. So it is so interesting. Moira?
Just two, that's very interesting. Two questions. For how long has that been operative? And secondly, is it a joint pool that goes to the government?
Is it what?
Is it a government-controlled organization?
Yeah, okay. Well, in Germany, we have, for example, our health insurance system is not a public one. It is only based on public law, and that's it. We have, for example, more than 150 health insurances, based on public law. They are not private insurances, but they are, well, general insurance systems based on public law. That's the Bismarck system. You contribute to them and you get from them. The same applies for the care insurance. Obviously, the quality and the functioning of these insurances is supervised by state. And the rates are negotiated between the providers and the insurances. Is that, well, this care insurance was invented by the organization I worked for a long time ago, when I was still in normal work. It was invented and proposed to the government and to the legislator in the early 80s. And my organization was the German Association for Public and Private Welfare. Private means in that case non-public, not commercial, non-public. This organization was created in 1880, when we saw that something had to be done to cover the health needs of the population. And at that time in 1880, it was not the state who did take care of these things, but the churches, etc., the municipalities, and so on. And that was one year before the Chancellor Bismarck installed the first pension system worldwide, the Bismarck system, you all know about. And that's pretty interesting. So,
yeah, it was just that at that stage, 1 out of 10 people reached the retirement age. Today, it's just the reverse. And we're still based on the same system, so age-wise. So it's it's a huge problem today.
Yeah, exactly.
Mr. Bismarck had no money for his system. He had nothing in his pocket. So he put the pension the average life expectancy of a French or a German or a Czech worker, male worker, was between 46 and 47.
Exactly.
The general medium life expectancy.
Yeah.
And Bismarck put the pension age at 70.
Is it 70?
Yes.
I always thought it was 65. So what happened?
I think 70. I mean, only a very little population, a very little number of male workers, because the female workers were not really existent, were household, non-paid, like many of them today. So a very few number of persons reached that age of 70. So Mr. Bismarck didn't have to pay much for that, right? There was no money claimed. Only later that could...
Got us into trouble.
It was a political act. It was not a social policy. It was a political act against the movement of the Social Democrats, and to refrain them from questioning the empire, That was his political measure. But it gave to the population the understanding that the state was concerned by their aging process, that the state would take care of them, which the state only did in a very few numbers. Only later that developed further.
Yeah.
Interesting process.
Yeah. So there is a chance if the governments follow the Bismarck's example, they will, they will postpone the retirement age up to 95, and then they will be all well off.
Not me. I decided to reach the age of at least 100 years.
Yeah. So you will enjoy for 5 years your pension.
Sorry, Dirk, I just did have a last question on that one, and that is, say, for example, you're 60 and you start contributing to the care insurance, and then you fall ill and requiring, severe help after that. Is the help related to to how much you've paid in? No.
No, you start contributing to the care insurance system even at the age of 18. As soon as you earn money.
Yeah.
So what you get from the system is independently of what you paid into the system.
That was the point.
It doesn't matter. So that's the answer to that.
Super, thank you.
Yeah, very good. Yeah.
Diana, can I intervene?
Yes, please, Jessica, please join the
okay, thank you. I would like to add to my former information that if our law, which is now under consideration, will be adopted by the government and by the parliament, and then we will also have in Slovenia the same type of assurance system for long-term care, because we have now this Bismarck system of assurance for health, but the long-term care was not included. And because of this, we so hardly waited for the law which will bring us such a solution, because it is stable and long-term resource of financing, In spite of the people, economists, some of them are doubting that it will be good for our economy, because the OECD and other economists say that we have too high expenses for the work, working expenses in the customs for production. But we hope it will be accepted.
Yeah. Such a smart idea.
Yes, because in Slovenia also, this waiting list for the nursing homes, for the homes at all, is very long. As far as I have the information, over 10,000 people is waiting to go there, in spite of all our endeavors that we assure assistance, help, and a lot of models of assistance at home, But in spite of this, people are waiting to come.
Yeah, the same situation all over. Yeah. Yes. In my own country, we are also paying the health insurance and social security, but I think that it is the money that goes to the pension fund only, and not this care fund, long-term care fund. We don't have that. Like Dirk said, that it is in Germany and Luxembourg only at the present time, which I consider very smart too. So we can advise to our governments. Monique?
I'm just saying something to Moira also. I think in France we have a system which we should look into it a little bit more, and it's called the CNSA, because at some point a long time ago, I would say, I don't know, 5 years ago, the government decided that one day off from workers would be dedicated to give money to elderly people for autonomy. The Monday of, it was a Pentecôte. Pentecôte is a religious holiday. And the government decided this day is not going to be given anymore. You have to take it from your own vacation. So it costs money to you, in fact. And this money is going to this big Caisse Nationale, big funding. And this fund is used for solidarity, for autonomy, and normally for care. But a lot of people said that this funding is not very clear, and that the money is going more to the deficit of the social security than to the elderly people. But we have a whole story with that. Moira, you know about that? We don't hear you.
Moira, yeah.
No, I do know about it, but I had forgotten about it. But it would be interesting to go into it now.
Yeah.
We can have coffee and do that.
What?
We can have a cup of coffee and discuss that.
Yeah. I think it's a subject. If we talk about care and the money for care, who is paying care and so on, this is in France. It's very important. Yeah, this CNSA. Okay, fine.
Super. I would just like to just mention something I discovered. You know, I have a friend of mine who's got Alzheimer's, and I visit her frequently in her home. And I found something that really helped my visits recently. It's an American woman whose husband got a very bad form of Alzheimer's when he was 47. So she developed this thing. I'll put the address into the chat box. And it's very simply a series at this point of 38 clips that run from 4 minutes to 9 minutes. And that treats, it's just images and sound, and very soothing and very lovely. And I had the best visit in 18 months with my friend, because she's getting very hard of hearing. We have to wear masks, so the communication was very difficult. And as we sat and we watched this, she was so interested. And there were waterfalls and forests and underwater seas and animals and dancing and children. And it's a free service, and it doesn't have any language barrier. And I'll put the connection up in the chat box. And I really you'd enjoy it yourselves if you're just wanting to relax. Really lovely.
Yeah, thank you, Moira, very much. So we could distribute, you know, some information like for the girls from Rasa, and add this to the people who attended this Zoom meeting, and maybe also inform the others who couldn't make it. So Dirk, we are coming to the end. I think that I will pass the floor to you.
Thank you, Dana. That's exactly what I wanted to suggest. We are at 10 minutes to 12 approximately. And I would like to suggest that we come to the end of that interesting video conference. I must say, I'm always absolutely fascinated by the contributions which our members make to the discussion and to specific issues which we raise. I'm really impressed and learn a lot from them about the problems in your countries, and also by more or less some new solutions which seem to emerge. I also get the feeling that many of you are very active on pushing your governments and your local administrations to better act in respect to the aging population, and specifically to the situation of older persons in our European societies. I must say societies because they are so differentiated. So first of all, I would like to thank you for all these contributions, and would like to encourage you to keep all your energy to convince the public authorities, but not only the public authorities, but also older persons by themselves to work on new solutions, which we urgently need in order to keep a society which is age-friendly and human-friendly. Monique, your presentation was particularly welcome because it was on the screen and visible and we could follow it. You promised to send it to everybody, either via Dana or directly. I would like to suggest that it does not go only to the persons who participated today in that conference, but that it would be put on the website of Eurag, and that everybody else who did not participate gets a message. You can find this presentation now on our website, so that they get a mail, because not everybody consults our website continuously, and people need to know about that. I would like to encourage all the others to contribute by similar contributions, either in a written form or as a presentation, as Monique did that. It is useful not only for the others, but it is also useful for yourself in order to compare with others and to pull your ideas together in a document, not only in a verbal form and we communicate, but that, you know, we say what is once written stays. Words flow away, but what is written in books and in documents, etc., can be consulted by others who have not heard it, but they can read it. And so I would like to encourage you to contribute as much as possible by written and illustrated documents. And if we are successful, then we can enlarge the presentation of Monique by other examples from Finland, from the Ukraine, from Hungary, from Germany, from etc., and then we can make a huge presentation where people can consult what are the different approaches. Can we get a new idea from them, which we have never thought about, because others have already experienced that. That would be very nice indeed. If you have such documents and such perhaps even videos, send them to Dana, and Dana will make sure that they will be put on our website and that they will be shared as much as possible. Now, to end with, I would like to congratulate and thank our two colleagues from Hungary, who in a difficult situation said, yes, we can. Yes, we can do it. We can take over and organize the next conference of Eurag and the next meeting of Eurag, the internal meetings in beautiful Budapest. I have very good memories of Budapest, I must say. And I would very much like to go back to this beautiful city. It's not only beautiful, but it is a city with an enormous, impressive history, with enormous treasures of culture, with enormous performances in literature, in music, etc. When you are in Budapest, you get a feeling, a personal feeling that you are somewhere in a place which is extraordinary. And if you bring the impressions from your own places, from Riga, from Paris, from wherever you are, to Budapest, the Budapest people will feel that you come with culture, that you come with history, to meet them, and then you can exchange with them personally or in a larger context. So I encourage everybody to go to Budapest. I am so proud of my friends in Budapest. I know them for such a long time, and I was happy at the beginning. I said that, hello, Eva, and give our best regards to Gabor. Gabor is, like you, a very good personal friend, and I am proud that I have them as friends. Okay, so let's hope that Corona says goodbye to us, more or less, and go away, go home, Corona, leave us in our homes, and you go home from where you came or whatever you like to be, but not with us, please. Okay, then we can go to Budapest and be safe and happy and enjoy ourselves. By the way, wine is very good in Hungary, but not only wine, food is very good in Hungary. And you know that food becomes more and more important the older you are, right? Very important.
And so, also Chardash. You forgot Chardash.
You all in Budapest. Great thanks for today's session. We communicate to you a new date in due time, and we encourage you, if you have a problem or different problems and questions which you would like to raise at the next conference, communicate that to us, and then we will see that we have the next conference on your ideas. Thank you very much and goodbye.
So I thank you also to all of you for joining us. Would you like to hear a joke at the end?
Of course.
I just learned it from someone and I liked it. So the flu, influenza, and corona are meeting each other. And the flu is bragging, oh, I'm so good. I killed so many millions of people all around the world. And the corona says, so what? I have much better marketing. Did you get it? Isn't it good? So just don't take it so seriously. We hope that it will be over soon. So thank you for joining us. Goodbye.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Ciao, ciao.